Hey, you guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, Jocelyn, how are you? Welcome, you guys. I know, I was supposed to do, because I know even the banner says April 5th, and I was planning on doing it a couple days ago, but something came up and I had to go ahead and handle that and take care of it, so I had to reschedule for you guys. So, hopefully, some folks should be shortly popping in. The notification was just released by YouTube. Hey, Rebel, what's going on? How are you? Yeah, I wanted to try to jump on this back on Tuesday, but like I said, it was pretty darn busy Tuesday evening, so I didn't get a chance to. Didn't get a chance to, so that's why I rescheduled it for today. So ignore that April 5th that's on there. So, welcome, you guys. Come on in. We have not gotten started. We got to talk a little bit about this final dinner party for the season or reunion dinner party and the grand finale reunion. Hey, Tassie, what's going on? What is going on? How are you guys? Let me say hello in the chat on the way in. Hit that like button. Yeah, I know, right? Things happen. It was unexpected. I was ready to go live and then something came up and I'm like, okay, I gotta hurry up and reschedule. So I appreciate you guys for giving me the grace to reschedule. I appreciate it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. What we got going on is, like I said, the reunion dinner party and the reunion grand finale. And oh my gosh, was it crazy or was it crazy? Because remember what happened at the final vow ceremony, at what is it, vow ceremony? I forgot. So much has happened in this past week. I got to remember what was what. So, we remember that Cody and Selena stayed together. Mitch originally said at the vow ceremony that he wanted time, so they didn't leave together. And then we also had Jack and Dominica stay together. Of course, Olivia and Jackson stayed together. And that's pretty much the lineup that it was on the vow ceremony. Then fast forward to episode 36, we saw some folks actually made some changes. Let's see. I missed you too, Tassie. I'll just say the dinner party and finale were duds. Really? You think so, Joss? Really, really, really. I've been really busy at work, so this is perfect. Well, I'm glad you're here. Hey, Kim, what's going on? How are you? How are you? How are you? So, yeah, you know what? I would say it was pretty much like a dud, but I mean, Holly tried to stir up some stuff between Olivia and Dom because they were pretty much quiet most of the night until Holly threw her 2 cents in. Most of the stuff that happened tonight on the dinner party was Tamara because of the fact that Mitch and that whole situation with the text messages because Brent put her on Front Street. Jocelyn said, so much airtime dedicated to Daniel and Carolina, yet they were told they were not welcome on the spearmint. Exactly. That's what I said even when that previous dinner party after they was told that they wasn't welcome, they still showed up anyway. It was crazy. Rebel, I know exactly what you're talking about. I heard that Selena said that the reason that Cody signed up for the show was because of Bet. That's crazy. Salome, when can I watch the final dinner party? The final dinner party was already aired on Sunday. So this past Sunday was the final dinner party. And then Monday was the grand finale reunion. But yeah, Jocelyn, a lot of time was given to to Daniel and Carolina, even though, see, that's what I'm saying. A lot of this stuff, even though they say one thing, production gets to call the shots. So, and even when all of that was going on, the only reason we got to see it was because of production. They were the ones that were filming them in the stairwell, following them to the gym. The only reason we knew about all of it because production wanted to film it. So, exactly. Long live Brella. Yeah, so I put out a couple of videos. Oh yeah, by the way, guys, if you have TikTok, follow me on TikTok. It's at Romance Review TV 1 at the end. I have a ton of content over there. If you want to see little quick clips, you know how TikTok works, and it's doing pretty good. I'm building a tribe over there. So if you want to also join over there, if you have TikTok, you can follow me over there as well. You can follow me on Instagram. I've always been on Instagram for the past year or so. So that still remains intact. Let's see. Oh, I missed. I live in UK, so time is different. Well, here's the thing. Married at First Sight Australia has now aired in the US, and a lot of the videos and stuff, Salome, is in episodes are people are posting them on YouTube. Now I know YouTube has been cracking down in the past week or so in regards to posting their episodes for the show, but you might be able to catch one or two. Both episodes were really orchestrated as you said they would be. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's the downfall of this. My thing is because there's a lot of stuff going on the U.S. side as well. We've uncovered a lot of manipulation in regards to editing and orchestrated stuff, but that takes away from the whole love and marriage content of it. You know what I'm saying? And the crazy thing, you guys, is after this entire season, we had a total of 11 couples. Two out of 11 stayed together, and they were portrayed as the villains. So Olivia and Jackson stayed together, and Carolina and Daniel stayed together, and they were the only two, and they were the villains of the show. How do you figure that? I mean, my thing is, if you're gonna have your show represent love and marriage, you would at least want one of your couples to be the face of the show. Kind of like on Married at First Sight here in the U.S. We have a total of 12 couples that stayed together out of 13 seasons. They highlight them as being the face of the show. But for season 9, we got two couples that stayed together and they were portrayed as villains. Everybody else ended up single. There might have been a couple swaps after the season, but a lot of stuff came out in the past week about Cody, about Dion, Brent, because Ella has been all over interviews speaking out on him. It's just crazy. There is a Married at First Sight UK. I know, Kim, I know, but is that an older season? Did that season already end in 2021, or is there a new one right now for 2022? Let me know. So much promise regarding finale delivery. Yeah, and that's the other thing. A lot of folks was upset about how the grand finale was with the experts because they made it look like with the previews, and that's why I said I don't get caught up because everybody was like, oh my god, Olivia and Jackson broke up, and that's the way they made the preview set up. Those are a bunch of edited clips that they threw together just to keep people on the edge of their seats, right? But a lot of folks wanted the experts to hold Olivia more accountable for this whole OF scandal, and a lot of people were disappointed. And they couldn't understand why the experts didn't really dive deep with Olivia and holding her accountable. And I mean, the only other thing that I can think of is because a lot of it is manufactured. I mean, you can't hold something truly accountable that maybe not technically was really 100% authentic. Does that make sense? Let's see. UK version is nuts. Ooh, I gotta check that out. Kim B says, I don't know. I just found out about it. Wanted to know if you thought it was worth watching. Listen, if it's worth watching, I'll watch it. Right now, I'm doing recaps of The Ultimatum, and it's pretty darn good. Netflix have dropped 8 episodes of The Ultimatum, which is a spinoff from Love is Blind. And I'm on episode 4 right now. I'm halfway through. It's pretty good. And I'm doing recaps on it. So if you are a fan of the show, The Ultimatum, stay tuned for my recaps. Rebel says, like Cam and Jules seasons, there needs to be a boring couple that makes it through. Exactly. How are you going to take your best couple? Meaning, because prior to episode 20, Olivia and Jackson had nothing going on. And as if you guys that have been in my lives every week for the past month or so, you guys know what we will always talk about. Like, oh, it's always sunshine and rainbows for Olivia and Jackson. We got to see what happens when the real conflict comes into their marriage because they were pretty much the golden couple up until episode 20. There was no drama with Olivia and Jackson throughout the beginning of the season. At the beginning of the season, the villains was Celine and Matt and what is Holly's husband? I forgot his name. Gosh, the Texan. That was the drama for the first half of the season. Was Celine and I don't want to call that guy Matthew. What is his name, you guys? You guys remember what Holly's husband's name was? Gosh, that's how long it's been. Somebody drop it down in the chat section. But yeah, I mean, the only two villains in the first half of the season, because remember we had 37 episodes. The first 19 was all about Selena and Anthony and Holly and Andrew. That's it. Thank you guys. Thank you, Kim. Andrew and Holly. That whole scenario with Andrew and being called a narcissist and the body count and you know, him being, according to Holly, disrespectful, and she was screaming, and then we had Celine emasculating Anthony. That they were the villains for the first half of the season. Once they left, they had nothing left. So they had to create some drama, and you take the one couple who has been sailing through this whole thing, and you make them the villain. And it's just so crazy to me. I'm like, you need a face of the show. You want somebody who you don't want to see Olivia and Jackson in the street, and they are the couple that stayed together, but they were also considered the most toxic couple based on this whole OnlyFans situation and everything that happened after episode 20 with Dominica. It's just crazy. So I don't know. I some people was enjoyed the season. Some people, especially the ones that saw it as entertainment, because one thing about me, I like to, I know it's a lot of drama and stuff, but I also keep it in the frame of mind of entertainment. There are a lot of people who were really invested, and they are not happy about how this ended. They want karma to come to Olivia. They want the law to come to Olivia. There's petitions, people driving past her house. I mean, that's how bad it is. So it's just so unfortunate that that's how the season ended up. You had no uh, face of the show couples that wasn't in any drama at all. I mean, you could have a little bit of something, but anywho, so you know what? Let's kind of break down the season from each of these couples. Now I don't have all of them, because some came and go. I mean, we'll just take it one at a time. But we can start off with this couple, Kate and Matt. They didn't get a lot of airtime this season because, I mean, pretty much Kate was the Ice Queen. Remember, you guys, we call her the Ice Queen. Yeah, Tamara. Oh my gosh, she had an interview as well. So we'll talk. And if you haven't seen the some of the videos I put out, I did put out one. Hey, Phaedra, Georgie Eve. Hi, thank you. Hey, Kevin. Random name. How you doing? CEOTW. Hey. What's going on? In fact, they are both quite similar in many ways. Exactly. So, with Kate and Matt, I honestly think that if Kate had loosened up this season, she probably could have had a really good guy with Matt. And if they had worked out, they probably would have been maybe made the face, the couple of the season if they could have worked out. But her walls was just too thick. Hello, random. Hi. How are you? Um, the Aussie season was very entertaining for the most part. The US one, on the other hand, yeah, the US one is just this season has been so overly edited. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, over edited. But what do you think about these two? Do you think that this season, if Kate and Matt had to really put them, I mean, well, at least Kate, because I know Matt was definitely trying. But if Kate had to put the work in, do you think she would have really had a good guy? I actually think she would have. But she was the ice queen. And then even when they brought her back for the dinner party, she really didn't have too much to say either. She really didn't have too much to say. So I mean, it was nice to see them there, but yeah, nothing anything. So it's just so unfortunate that they couldn't have worked out. Georgie Eve says apparently Kate's edit was just really bad. Jack did an interview yesterday and said she's actually really nice and talkative. See, that's what I'm talking about. Thank you, Georgie Eve. They can create a character out of anybody. So everybody was looking at her as the ice queen, but then the people behind the scene is like, no, she talks to everybody. So we only got to see scenes where she was like looking really stiff or not saying anything, but yeah, that's all they showed us. Jocelyn says Kate looked amazing at the dinner and actually spoke more than a few words. Yeah, I kind of wish we had gotten more. I mean, she's a pretty girl. So I don't know. It just sucks. I wonder what kind of men Kate has dated in her past. That's a good question. But she always says she never got the girlfriend title. Remember? If that's her true storyline, that she's never been anybody's girlfriend. Um, Jocelyn says plenty to say about Mean Girls, but not a word of it at the finale. Exactly. And that's why I'm wondering why didn't production or the experts dive deep unless it was all manufactured in the first place? Because it would have made, if just say everything was 100% authentic with the Mean Girls, right? Everything that we saw, this whole storyline from episode 20 through 37, everything was 100% authentic. Don't you know, with the way that the fans were so pissed off and was really triggered by those final 2 weeks of the season, they could have called all kind of accountability and that would have redeemed the show. That would have redeemed the experts. The production would have been able to put them on blast. The question is, why didn't they? And that's why I noticed, I'm like, okay, well, they didn't go in as hard as they made it look like they were going to. So why didn't they? The only thing is that you cannot really hold something 100% accountable if it's not 100% authentic. That's all that I can say. Okay, let's see. Queenie said, okay, Steph. Hey, Steph, what's going on? What's going on, Stephanie? Oh my God, I just saw your live. Hi from Geelong in Australia, Surf Coast, and out from Melbourne. What's up, girl? Matt was pretty gross with the lip smacking and the lip. Yeah, you're right, B Flat Nick. That was crazy. Tassie says I can picture the producer sitting down with all of the photos, going, "Villain, jerk, crazy one." Girl, one of you guys always call this a lab rat experiment. I don't know if that's David or one of you other my regulars in the chat. Always call this a lab rat experiment. Matt comments about Kate's twin was creepy. Jocelyn, what did he say about Kate's twin? I don't remember. Did he say it during the season or was this something after? Georgie says, I think they had to go back and change the last episode because Olivia was getting too much backlash from the community. And the photo issue is now a police matter, so they cannot talk about it publicly. See, the only thing I got, my question is, because remember, okay, so let me kind of break this down because I was thinking about this. I'm like, how is it they were able to have a storyline on the show about nude photos being leaked and the actual production team has no accountability in it too? Because remember, Jess, which is Daniel's ex, Jess had a first husband when um offensive videos, comments, and everything went like when it was out, that they instantly removed him. There was no talking about it, there was no nothing. He wasn't even shown. They instantly removed him because it could have been backlash to the production team and the show for having somebody with offensive behavior, right? Well, what Olivia technically was doing is also offensive and, I guess, illegal behavior. Why would you allow that on your show if Jess's first husband and his offensive behavior was immediately removed? See, and it had me thinking, and I'm like, something don't add up. And then she kept saying this season, I just Googled it. It's on a public platform. Now, the thing is, some people say, "Oh yeah, it was on Reddit." Okay, it was on Reddit in February. When they filmed this was back in the fall of 2021. So none of us knew about the OnlyFans incident. Nobody knew nothing about it until it was aired in this past month. So if it was found on Reddit somewhere or whatever, we didn't even know the cast members at that time until that information was released right before I think it was right after New Year's, right? So, for people to say, "Oh, well, she could have just got it off of Reddit." The photos somebody circulated on Reddit. It was circulated after the season started. The filming of this, when all of this was going on, was back in September, October of 2021. We had no idea what was coming. They kept that under wraps. So they obviously was knowing that they were going to create a storyline around it. See, and that's why, I'm scratching my head on this whole thing, which, it's like, they didn't hold her 100% accountable. They just asked her if she was sorry about it. And she was like, "Do you have any empathy? I don't have it in me." And then that was it. There was nothing. And my question is that whole thing was circulating back in September, October. It only gets released now in February and March, and now the police is involved. Would she have had an issue about it before the season aired? Just say Dom was filming back in September or October, and it came out that she didn't want this. Olivia claimed she Googled it, blah blah blah, right? So, would it be a situation of Dom being upset? She goes to producers, "Oh my God, this other cast member did this." There is no way any criminal or offensive behavior would be allowed on that show as much as they got rid of Jess's first husband. Okay, so let's see what the comments. At the dinner, alluded to the fact that if he couldn't get something going with Kate, she has an. Oh, okay, yeah, that is kind of creepy. That is kind of creepy. You're absolutely right. Steph says, genius, you can't hold 100% accountable if you're not watching something that's 100% authentic. It is. I mean, seriously. Love lab rats is the perfect turn of the phrase Wilco. Okay, I know one of you guys used to bring that term up. But yes, you cannot hold something 100% accountable if the actions aren't 100% authentic. I mean, and like I was just explaining, I don't want to rehash everything that I just broke down, but if you guys want more detailed explanation on my theory, it doesn't make sense to me because it's from what you guys say and the slut shaming, um, allegations and revenge, PORN, that type of thing and that, it's illegal. Why would production even create a storyline about it and allow that to happen 6 months ago during filming? We knew nothing about any of this until February. So I don't buy the whole story. I'm not triggered by it that deep enough to say, "Oh my god." You know what I mean? That's just me. And one thing about me, you guys, I love a good suspense movie. So things like this, I love suspense and trying to figure out the maze of a thing, and I'm very analytical like that. So I look at things and kind of break it down like, "Well, wait a minute, what's really going on here?" You know what I mean? So um, that's why I thought about that. I'm like, "That makes no sense. You kick Jess's husband off for his offensive behavior immediately, but this is criminal, but you make a storyline around it." And then I listened to some of the John Aiken interviews, and the interviewers always ask him, "Oh my God, this Olivia situation is kind of crazy." He never gives a direct answer to kind of say, "Oh yeah, that's wrong. We're pursuing legal action against her." He never says that. He'll say, "Well, you know what? That's something that's been able to talk about around the world. This stuff always tends to happens in life." So it's always a roundabout answer. Like I say, I pay closely attention to what people say and go from there. Rebel said production was in on it. They have picked participants off the show for less than that. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, look at just what happened with Alyssa and Chris on Married at First Sight in the US. Now, granted, she got maybe the first week or two of airtime, but once they realized that this woman was emotionally abusive, they immediately, and I think maybe that's the first time we actually had a decision day a week or two early in the season. They were gone. We haven't seen Alyssa since. Because you cannot, as a platform, remember these are businesses, right? So In the Mall and Channel 9 are pretty much the In the Mall Shine, I think it's called. In the Mall Shine and Channel 9 are the production team that creates Married at First Sight Australia. There is no way that they didn't go to their legal team and say, "Hey, can we create a storyline about revenge, PORN, without any legal liability to us?" Come on. I mean, because there's no way they would allow that in. I reckon they had to dull down the edit because legal stuff has put muzzles on them. If Channel 9 had gone there, they would have gone there. Legal person talking. Okay, Steph. There was a lady one season that almost got into a fight and they told her to leave. That's what I'm saying. And you talking about something criminal? There is no way back in 2021 you can just without even it being known to be on Reddit. And from what I understand, they when it was they told Dom to shut down the OnlyFans, so obviously they knew about it. But there's no way that you can just Google that. OnlyFans is a website that is subscription based that has so many security features around it because of some of the content that's in it. So by her just actually saying I Googled it, that can't happen, guys. It just can't. And at that time, like I said, it was August. None of us knew anything about any of that. We were watching probably Love Island at the time. Um, read something today, London Mail, about Married at First Sight producers rating 2022 participants is boring. Then struck gold with the Olivia's comments, actions, and roll with it. Yep. And the thing is, it's so bad that Channel 9 security team is also still protecting her. So if this is something that um, is a situation where it's illegal, there is no way they will want any parts of this after the season. She still has Channel 9 protection, making sure that, you know, nobody comes after her or any of that. So, I mean, that gives me a lot to think about. I mean, seriously, and that's why I don't drag, I don't, you know, trash the cast members from any of the shows that I recap because some of the, like I said, I've had conversations with cast members from some of these shows, and they are nothing like what they're portrayed. They're not. And some of them go into a little depth. They can't say a lot. They're under contract, you know. But from what I do know, a lot of this stuff we see is manufactured. So that's why I don't get so, because people get in my comment section, why you're not angry? Why you're not upset? I can't believe you condone their behavior. It's not that. It's just that I'm a person of integrity. So I want to make sure that whatever I respond to or get upset about, that it's exactly the right thing to respond to, which is why I like to see people after the season. Just like we just found out that Cody, the only reason he was on the show was from a bet. That's what Selena said when she was interviewed, I think yesterday. He was only on the show for a bet. That's crazy. I bet the USA and UK broadcast versions of the AU could even have more dirt in them. Australia has much harder laws on revenge and abuse by the media. By the time it airs overseas, it will be open. Yeah, it's crazy. Jocelyn says possibly unpopular opinion. Dom did herself no favors with her no Olivia party and probably hurt a legal case. Yes. Oh my God. Did you guys see that? Um I posted it on I did a recap on the other day, and yeah, it was Dom, Jack, Brent, Ella, and Al. And I don't know. I thought maybe Al's mom was there too, but Al was there. It was them. And they had all these signs with the faces, and they all got t-shirts made saying my body, my choice, BITCH. And oh yeah, they made it. It was a big shindig. It was a big shindig. It became newsworthy. Excuse me. And yeah, she didn't do her I was like, "That's you have success." I mean, right now, Dom has over 250,000 followers on Instagram from everything that has happened in the past 3 weeks. Take that following that you have and do something else. I don't wanna tell people what to do, but do something else. The season is over. And what it is that because the fans are so in an uproar over Olivia and Tamara and Carolina and Daniel, they're using that energy and emotion that the fans have, and pretty much, they're using it for the benefit, unfortunately. Holly was at the party too? Yeah, okay, cool. I didn't see her in any of the pictures. Now I know why some of them disappear, like Brett from Married at First Sight US, nowhere to be found on social media. Yeah, because I mean, okay, you guys remember Chris Williams? Oh my God, they drug his family. Actually, because I'm in Illinois, his family is also from Illinois, and they are friends of mine that that I went to school with in high school with that actually knows Chris Williams' family, and the thing is that these people were attacking their family. They were calling up to Chris's Williams' job. I mean, they tried to get him fired. I mean, it's just horrible how when the production team or when these types of shows aired and there's a villain on the show, the villain is, I mean, pretty much their life is almost, depending on how deep it goes, their lives are pretty much ruined for the moment. Now, there are some that, Chris Williams had pretty much kind of sort of redeemed himself because he went on a mission trying to help people. He did a lot of big donations, paid for people's rent, had conversations with people, did an expose on himself. So he tried to redeem his character. There are a lot of people who still do not like him, but the life of being the villain, I wouldn't choose that for nothing in the world. Jack was interviewed by Wilco and he said Dom's media career is on fire. Absolutely. I wouldn't be a bit surprised that probably in another month she'll be at about 500,000 followers on Instagram. Dom's trying to live her life. Good on her for having a party. Hi, Jonathan. Won't hurt her legal case at all. If there is one. Again, if in fact that they allow that to go on their platform, somehow production would also have to have some accountability on that. Not only did you allow it to happen, but you created a storyline around it. If it's what it says. Now, according to that guy from a previous season, and a lot of people hate him too because, and I forgot his name, um, because he was portrayed as a villain on his season. You know, allegedly Dom knew about it and allowed production to use the storyline. So we will probably never know the whole truth because they're under contract. They cannot say what production did. They just cannot. So they have to just go by what was shown and what they filmed 6 months ago. I don't like either one of them, Dom or Olivia. Dom's party. Oh, Rebel. Okay, I got you. Stephanie says Dom party was sponsored. Jack and Al have used their platform to support appeals for floods we had in OZ and the Ukraine war. I hope see, and that I can see that. Use your platform for something else. I also read London Daily Mail that Sam is related to, yeah, and so and that was the other thing, Josh, is that at that party, Al made a sick joke about it and saying because people were asking him where Sam was, and I guess her grandfather, grand uncle, or whoever she's related, because I read the article, and I guess the persons that were deleted, because I don't, I have to watch the words I say on YouTube. The people that the grandfather deleted were in this forest. And so when somebody asked Al, well, where's Sam? Sam had the nerve to say, well, she's probably in that forest with her grandfather. And it went ballistic. And you had some fans was like, oh, it's just a joke. No big deal. You're blowing it out of proportion. So it's just getting real crazy with this stuff right now. Um, Matt and Jocelyn says Matt and Tam knew each other before the show, and now they're an item. Matt and Tamara? Oh my God! I gotta give me the deets on that. Where did you see that? Jocelyn says Andrew shut down his social media accounts and checked into a clinic. Let me tell you something, guys, and that's I don't know if I posted it on my IG and I posted it on I posted it. Okay, I posted it on my TikTok. One of the things is there's a video where both Carolina and Daniel and Olivia and Jackson are on a double date night. So if you haven't seen that video, check out my IG or my TikTok because I posted it. One of the questions they asked her is about her mental health while she was on the show. And she was saying how, it was to the point where she felt like she wanted to jump off, and they was like, "Please don't say that." And she was saying that I guess the show psychologist told her to do one thing, but they did it differently or something. I don't I gotta remember because I should have probably uploaded the video um to YouTube. But YouTube is so funny about other people's content. So that's why I have my other two platforms, IG and TikTok. On Facebook, I don't post too much of that stuff. I usually post the Married at First Sight US stuff on Facebook. But yeah, I mean, psychologically, this show can be really taxing. And if you're not built for this, and I even think somebody said, I think it was Al. Al had also said that Selena was going through some mental health situations after the show as well. I got to check. She's been doing some interviews lately, so I got to check that out as well. But this is not easy. And a lot of these folks that are dragging the cast members, you don't know what this is until you're doing it yourself. I mean, even on the US side with the shows like we have over here, you probably have them too. Bachelor, Black Bachelorette, Are You the One, Ready to Love, all of those shows, you have a lot of people coming out of that getting counseling. It's just too much. And then it's one thing to go through the process while you're filming. It's another thing when it airs and you got to deal with the fans and you don't know whether you're going to be portrayed as the villain until the show is released. You don't know. A lot of these people are watching it in real time after editing with the rest of us. And then they realize, like, oh my God, I didn't say that. Oh my God, I said this yesterday, not today. And then the fans are thinking it's all in one sentence and they get dragged for it. Hey y'all, cooking dinner but listening. Oh, hey Mary. I thought it was sad and was about to tie it to Al's comments, but yeah, yeah, that was horrible. Why would you say something like that? And my thing is and that's crazy because I had a lot of support for Al on the show, looking like he was trying to do some things better for himself, but that joke was horrible. Now, guys, let me ask you something because I don't know if you paid attention to this. When Dom had said this statement to Olivia on the um, finale in front of the experts, she said that, and she kind of threw shade at their relationship at the beginning of the season. She said for the most of the season, and you guys refresh my memory because, like I said, a lot has been going on this week. So, I'm trying to play catch up. That's why I wanted to do it on Tuesday while it was still fresh in my head. But it was interesting where Dominica made a statement about how her and Jax, meaning Olivia and Jackson, relationship was for the most part for the early part of the season. It seems like Olivia looked down on everybody because her relationship was going so well. And I'm like, okay, because we never got to see that. All we saw in the beginning of the season was pretty much them being boring. That they was just being girlfriend, boyfriend. When they did the match up their compatibilities, everything was a perfect match. And, they were getting along, and he's the love of my life, and she's the love of my life. So we didn't get to see her looking down her nose at the other couples because they were doing so well. So I'm wondering, did some of the couples feel some kind of way because Olivia and Jackson was doing so well at the first half of the season? I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Sorry, mention tomorrow, my autocorrect. Okay, gotcha. Jocelyn says, I hope potential participants upcoming season are paying attention and thinking twice. Dom says she was upset by a label. Right, okay, exactly. Because it was regarding her relationship. And I'm like, were you a little bit jealous of that? I mean, I don't get it, but a lot of stuff we don't see. Because I was wondering around the smugness, we didn't see that in the first half of the season. We didn't see that part. Here's my comment on Jack and Dominica. I honestly think that because as we found out, they had broken up, right? I honestly think that the time that she spent going back and forth or production creating this drama, going back and forth with Olivia was the time that she should have been working on her relationship with Jack. I mean, because there were already issues at the beginning of the season with these two. Remember the whole period thing and embarrassing him at Kate and Matt's wedding. And then we had at the retreat, hers talking about he's pretty lame in bed and all this kind of stuff. So there was always issues already from the start with these two, even though they had a lot of compatibility, but there was issues that they needed to do and put some work in. And they spent the better half of the second season going back and forth with Olivia and Tamara and Carolina. Whereas I think because Olivia and Jackson built their relationship earlier in the season, they had time up until we saw in episode 19. We had went through 19 episodes of Olivia and Jackson, and they spent most of the early part of the season building their relationships. We didn't see the jab throwing or, talking down to the significant other. I honestly think that's valuable time in the last 2 weeks of this experiment or 3 weeks or whatever, because our weeks in time is different from their weeks in time. But from what we saw from episode 20 to 37, she probably should have spent so much time focusing on that than trying to work around the storyline. But, maybe production was in control. Let's see. Dom said she was upset. I can see Olivia being smug. I agree. Olivia was smug through the beginning of the show. I always saw Olivia and Jackson's meanness. We often saw Jackson and Olivia talking in private about how it wasn't a competition, but if it was, they were winning. Their attitude probably translated to smugness at dinner parties. Well, here's the thing, it's all up to interpretation because I've seen sometimes people that are not as close in their relationship or single people who are around a couple who are doing well in their relationship and they feel some kind of way about it, and instead of taking accountability of how they feel, they make it the other person's fault by saying, "Oh, you think you're better than us," or "You're looking down at us because your relationship is better. You think your relationship is all that," and it's not the case. It's just that you feel bad about what you have going on. But I could be wrong. It could be the other way around. Maybe she was smug. Maybe she was throwing, looking down her nose at the other people. Who knows? We didn't get to see a lot of that. I disagree. Olivia and Jackson show smugness. That's fine. That's fine. But at the end of the day, kind of like what Dr. Pepper said last night to Elijah One and Katina, it don't matter how you think about what I feel about your relationship. It's the fact that your relationship is working for you. And the thing is that with these two, and if this was filmed back in the fall, yes. So they've been together the better of probably about 7 or 8 months now. I don't know if they're getting married anytime soon because the Married at First Sight Australia is not legal marriage, so I think they gotta do their own private legal ceremony. But, if they were smug, that's not a nice thing to do, you know? I mean, it's just not. If your relationship is going great, it's going great, you know? Um, The other thing is that usually people that are in great relationships don't care whether the other person is smug or not because their relationship is just fine as well. And I really truly think, because I didn't think Tamara and Brent wasn't going to work. We knew that from jump. We knew it was going to be a struggle for Sam and Al. As for Celine and Anthony, that was done after day two. And the only other couples that I thought was actually could work would probably been Ella and Mitch, because they started off so strong in the beginning as well. But all those other couples, they had issues with each other, So, I don't think it's a great thing if she was smug with them, because you don't do that. That's not fair. If you're good, you're good. Keep your business on your side of the turf. Don't, but I didn't see any of that, because most of the what we talked about when we were on our chats and lives and stuff back in February was saying everything was stars and rainbows. And even when David was on our live, he was one of the main ones that was like, we need to see what happened when conflict hit them, because right now they just think everything is peachy keen. So let's see. Yes, others struggling would be envious, jealous, and insecure. Yep. I would love to see all the unused footage. Me too. I'm sure it would be eye-opening. Steph said there was major smugness with Olivia and Jackson. Interesting that Olivia was threatened or impacted by Dom's assertiveness and felt the need to eliminate her from an experiment. Here's the other thing I gotta say about Dom, and I guess this is part of the show. Cause I don't know. I'm so used to the US side. We don't get a lot of dinner parties on this side of the turf. We maybe get one a season. And then they'll hang out at the honeymoon together, and then they'll go on a retreat together. But we don't really see where people are speaking into other people's relationships, telling them what to do. Not on this side. And Dom had issues in her own relationship, yet she was yelling and telling everybody else about themselves. And that's where, I had an issue, because I said that in my lives prior to this old Libya thing. I even said, and one of you gals had said when I had talked about, if Dom want to pull somebody in private and talk to them, do that. But to just yell out about what you should be doing and you're not right, and I'm calling you out when you already got issues in your own relationship. The purpose of each couple is to work on things in their own personal relationship. Now some people told me, oh, it's just part of how Australia Married at First Sight worked, that people call each other out. Okay, that's something I got to get used to. We don't see a lot of that on the US side. Most of and we get to, I guess, pretty much they'll talk amongst each other. You'll have the couples, two couples will be like, I talked to my husband last night and blah, 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 blah. But when they're sitting around in a group, we don't hear people jumping across the table, calling out other couples for what they're doing or what they're not doing. It's usually them learning to figure their issues out within their own relationships, which I think is actually better, because that allows each couple the time to focus on their relationship instead of a person being in somebody else's when you got stuff to clean up in your own house. Um, Celine had a lot of opinions about how others treated person, but guess she hasn't looked in the mirror. Exactly. She was another one. She was another one, and it's like, Celine, your marriage only lasted 2 days, because the rest of the time that they spent together, they was in separate apartment, and, Celine was being emasculating, but she wanted to call out people too. US should introduce more dinner parties. They're missing the trick. I think the problem is they have enough drama over here. I don't know if there's certain rules that's different. I don't, and plus the season is longer because we only have one episode a week. Now we're on episode 13 and it's already been 2 months. because the season started the first week of January. No, wait a minute, 3 months. This is April. So it started the first week of January. We're on episode 13, and we're in month 3 now. And they still got technically 3 weeks in the experiment to go. So we probably won't be done with this season until May, the beginning of May. And again, that's a season that's about 5 months long because it only comes on once a week. Plus, we had 1 week there was no episode because it was a mid-season break. Go figure. So I don't know if they would be able to do a bunch of dinner parties every week over here. We don't have 37 episodes or over, probably over 20. We don't have over 20 episodes at the US version. Dom was definitely over the top and didn't need to be so vocal, but this is reality TV. That is true, B-Fly Nick. Maybe they said, hey, if you guys see things, call it out. And Dom is very outspoken, so maybe that's why. Ella and Mitch had a strong sexual relationship, period. You are right, Camille. Absolutely. That early dinner party where Mitch was verbally disrespectful to Ella was a red flag that never addressed by the experts. Yep. And the interesting thing is, because Ella and Mitch got back together after the vow. I don't know why I want to call it a vow renewal. This vow ceremony thing. I'll just say that, which would have probably been like episode 33 or something like that. But then after the season was over, she turned around and got back with him again because they came to the reunion together. So, like I tell this to my daughter because she's dating, and I tell it to other people. It's like when people show you who they are, you need to believe them. Now, in this case, reality TV is different. But if Mitch is like what we saw and being disrespected, why would Ella go back to him after the season? Because a lot of women was like, oh my God, Mitch put her on hold. He didn't want to say yes today, you know. And then after the season, they end up being back together. Now they're broken up again. And you guys, I did a recap on that too, because Ella had kind of opened up the floodgates when it came to that whole thing. I mean, she said pretty much Mitch cut her off, and it was right. I guess something happened right after the reunion, and then some articles came out, and she said after that Mitch cut her off. So that is over, and I think there might be a little bit something going on between Brent and Ella because I put some stuff on my TikTok. They were coming out of Brent's apartment. He was wearing her clothes. They did, and the Wash. I love that platform. The Wash on IG. They have these candid street interviewers that catch up with them and talk to them on the street. I love it, and that's how they caught up with Brent and Ella coming out of his place, and they were headed to Dom's party, Olivia, no Olivia party. They were headed over there, but she was coming out of Brent's apartment, and Brent was wearing her jacket or something. So there might be a little bit of something going on there. I don't know for sure. So like I said, don't quote me 100% on that, but something might be going on over there. Let me see. Ella was in the interview that Mitch and Tamara were dating before filming. Really? The final vows. Thank you, Jocelyn. I'm trying to come up with the right name for that ceremony. The final vows. Okay, cool. Can I ask you, how do you tag in comments? My doesn't pull up full names when I type like in social media. YouTube is real funny about that. It's just so crazy. Because I've tried that when I'm in other lives and stuff from other content creators, and mine do the same thing. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or what. So, if anybody in the chat knows how to do it, can you help Steph out? Because I don't want to give her any misinformation. Okay, so Jocelyn says experts gave a lot of airtime to chastising Daniel and Carolina because they were personally insulted at not detecting the connection. You know what? I honestly believe that they felt like you talking about the experts, Jocelyn. Yeah, because think about it. They didn't put them together. They should have been the ones to remember, they're the experts. You have a relationship expert, you have a sexologist with Alessandra, and then you got Mel Schilling, who's I think a sociologist or something. So you guys are supposed to be the professionals at this. And you actually had people in front of you that you put together that didn't work, and two of those people came out of those unions and got together. And they hit it off well. So maybe it's just like you said, Jocelyn, maybe they're insulted, like, oh my God, I mean, they're putting us on blast. We should have chose them and we didn't pick well. Um, Jocelyn says plenty of cheating in previous seasons, and Jess and Dan were allowed to stay. But all this expert out outrage at Dominica and what DNC. Oh, yes, C was Carolina, Daniel and Carolina. Yes, C was fouled to Dion. Here's my thing about this whole Dion thing, and I've been going in my comment section on some of my other platforms. Dion knew from day one, as Carolina made it 110% clear. So clear that it came off even rude to some people that I am not interested in you. She said that. There were two commitment ceremonies where she wrote leave, not just once, but twice, and said, I don't want to be with him. She also told him, maybe we can only connect as friends. She put him in the friend zone. How many times? In what language? In what? I don't know. Do you need to put it in an algebraic formula that this girl didn't want you from day, as you guys say, day dot? She did not want this guy. She realized from the beginning she was not interested. They made this whole thing, and they spent a lot of time on this whole thing where Dion is betrayed and he's the victim. And now there was a couple things that I don't agree with Carolina when she said he didn't try. He doesn't need to try at this point because you already told him. So I don't know if they were saying, well, say this, tell them you need to try. I don't know, because that doesn't make sense. Why would you ask somebody to try when you've already told him several times, I'm not interested in you? That doesn't make sense. But anywho, so, for these two to meet up, because the way they tried to play it, especially some of the cast members, they tried to play it as if Carolina was cheating from day one. Daniel and Jess didn't come in until later. I mean, I think maybe they came around the same time because I think they introduced one or two. Yeah, they were at the same time. So, um, after the whole thing when she said, and that was kind of rude. I didn't like how she said the only reason people are interested in you is because of your money. And I'm not one of those people. I mean, all she could have said was, "You know what? We're not compatible. We don't have the chemistry. I'm sorry, I'm not, into you or something." But that was kind of rude in the beginning when she said that people would only be interested in for his money, And plus, she was talking about his height or something, in the beginning. But yeah, so they did come in there together as three couples. I think it was Daniel and Jess, Carolina and Dion, and I think what didn't Matt come in with them? Matt and Kate came in with them as well. It was three couples that came in with them. So anywho, I'm not gonna try to figure that out. But the thing is, they didn't meet until the dinner party. And that's when they had that conversation when Jess was done, because Jess was like, I'm out, I'm done, I don't want no parts of this. She was up at 1 o'clock in the morning on the phone, and that left Daniel by himself. And he was able to come to the dinner party, connect with Carolina. Carolina was still in this situation because of the whole stay leave situation. And so she was already checked out, but then she built that connection with Daniel with that whole dinner party. Let's see what's in the comments. Okay, Stephanie agrees with Jocelyn. As to the idea that experts can't take participants to task because what we're seeing is actually fake. Whereas Carolina and Daniel were covered full time. They had full coverage. Yes. And that's why people was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe they're doing this." And I was telling folks like, "Yeah, but the production is right there with the camera filming it. That's the only way you can see it. If production didn't want any part of that, you wouldn't have been able to know anything about it." Yes, Kim, they dot. Try it a friendship, not a romantic connection. Yep. Carolina biggest mistake was using Dion to stay. How is she using him to stay when she said 2 ceremonies that she wanted to leave? He the one that wanted to stay in this mess. Um, Dion, but Dion knows she didn't want him. He just couldn't handle the rejection. Okay, so there was a story about Dion that he was in a relationship 4 days before coming onto the experiment. After the relationship, he once it was over, he got back with that same girlfriend. So you just never know why these people come on this show, and I think we've talked about this in one of my previous lives, is that this is what he did. Now that's alleged, so but that's what the news was in the in the streets. Steph says, where Carolina Dion was concerned, maybe there was a hypothesis that time that could alter chemistry. Why Selena and Cody, you mean? Chemistry is a thing. Arranged marriages are different. Yes. Jocelyn says, yes, Daniel, Jess, Matt, Kate, Caroline, and Dion were the intruder couples. Okay, that's what I had to figure that out. Camille says, Carolina wrote stay the first week. My point is, she could have told Dion that she found someone else on the outside and was leaving. They were in an experiment, and Dion took it seriously. That's a good point, Camille, because if you are interested in someone, maybe you should. But here's the thing. The way that they set it up, the experts didn't even know that they were doing this because they just showed up at one of the commitment ceremonies as a couple. Production knew. So I'm wondering, did production want the shock factor for Dion, for the experts, for the other cast members? Because yeah, I agree with you. Why not say, Dion, you know what? I'm interested in one of the other husbands. This ain't gonna work. I need to move on. But I think production wanted the shock factor, which is that whole big walkout episode, blah blah blah. Because they turn around and marched right back in there and sat back down. I'm like, whatever. But I think production wanted the shock factor. If they kept that a huge secret from everybody, and everybody walked in saying, "Hey, we would like to join you together," and they're holding hands, and people mouths are open, and all of this stuff, that would have took away from the shock factor of the big walkout episode. It was after the hallway kiss. Daniel and Carolina wanted to stay on the show. Yep. They did. Um, but I think, like you say, Camille, in a perfect world, that's what she should have done. Was that Camille? Yeah, that was Camille. But production need the drama. And if that means keeping everybody in the dark to create that the big boom moment, which is, like I say, what that walkout episode was about. They probably told them, we're going to film it from the outside, but keep this as a secret because we need to use this later on. Um, let's see. Wait a minute. Jocelyn says Carolina had just met Daniel the night before and wrote staying, give it a try. Just left Dan after commitment ceremony. Dan called Carolina. The rest is history. Okay, yep, that's true. So when she wrote stay, Daniel was not a real factor. That came later. Yep, agree. Agree about production thing with Daniel and Carolina. Yeah, because if he had a told her, I mean, he had told her, if Carolina had a told Dion, he would have just left in the middle of the season. Oh, I'm not standing for this. You're cheating on me. I'm out of here. They needed that shock factor. That shock factor, because like I said, even the experts didn't know, assuming that they didn't know. But the way that it was shown is that the experts had no clue that they were together. Um, Jocelyn says, after which he consistently wrote, leave, leave, leave. Yep, that's true. That is true, true, true. But honestly, these two have a connection that is on fire. I have seen, like I said, I like to watch people after the season. They have been joined at the hip. A lot of people were questioning whether his niece, because remember, one of the big things he talked about is whether his niece is excited about him finding a wife. And they were asked, about their children because she has a teenager, 16, 17 maybe by now, whether his niece and her son had an issue with them. And Daniel's response to his sister and the niece was they're enjoying it and they're finding it entertaining. So you have some people that don't take stock in this show. They find it entertaining. They like Carolina. I haven't seen anything where Carolina says that, what her son exactly said, but I do know that she said most of her friend circle and the family see this as TV. So, these people will actually get to see them together at home when they're over for dinner, when they're hanging out, for recreational purposes. And so far, their families have no issues. They have moved in together. They said on what's that? Today Extra, that show. It's an internet show. You guys down in Australia, you know what I'm talking about. How they love each other. They're looking forward to moving into the next stage, possibly marriage, stuff like that. They didn't bring up babies because I know they're in their 30s. She got a 16, 17-year-old. So, one thing it sucks how they arrived at this and they're portrayed as the villain, but I'm always, me, myself, I love romance. And it was interesting, speaking of that, because at the grand the ceremony with the experts, so the grand finale reunion, when Ella was talking about, oh my God, this is horrible, you guys structured this and blah blah blah, and she was like, it's a shame that that's how your love story look. And Daniel turned around and say, you're all single, shut up and mind your own business. I was like, ooh. I mean, what do you guys think about what he said? I actually got that clip on my other platforms, but he told them, when it was Dominica and Ella talking about, yeah, because Dominica called him a knob, and Ella was like, it's a shame that this is how your love story look. And, Daniel was like, oh, just shut up. You're all single. Just shut up and mind your own business. Let me know what you guys think about it. Okay, Jocelyn said, did find it funny. Dom was disgusted by the kissy kissy footage of Daniel and Carolina, but couldn't understand why Jack would be hesitant in engaging in sex while she was menstruating. Oh my God, Jocelyn, that was priceless. Steph agrees with you too. Carolina wrote leave, but why did Dee write stay? Exactly. Why would you continue to write stay when somebody is telling you, I don't want to be with you? And that was one of the things that I talked about in my previous lives. I do. Why keep somebody stuck in a relationship if they want to leave? Now, I understand maybe it's a part of the contract, But if somebody you don't want to be with and you telling them I want to leave, why do you make that other person stay? I just don't get it. They're both wannabe influencers. Fooling Dion was essential. Okay. Dion kept saying he wasn't a quitter. And I think that was a part of his ego. For example, give me enough time and she'll want me. He had it. That man is not stupid. He had to know that that girl, from day one, when she rudely told him, and most people only want you for your money. I'm not one of those people, so don't get it twisted, pretty much. I mean, seriously. So at what point, and I think Dion is maybe like 34, 35. Come on. He knows. He knows. But he rolled this thing through and it worked out in his favor because he has a huge following now. Jess looked like she was not happy about Daniel and Carolina, but she kept her mouth shut. I just think in that, I think Jess was out. She was so over this whole experiment. It was one thing that gave her bad husband number one, and then she wasn't interested in Daniel either. She was ready to go. I honestly think that they waited for a clip where they got a facial reaction of her looking a certain way, and they used that as a way to say, "Oh my God, I don't like those two." I don't think she could care less about whether whether Daniel and Carolina are in a relationship, because one of the things she said at the girls' night, she said, "Well, hey, it wasn't while me and him was together. I was already gone, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't bother me." So, I mean, she had already said that it was pretty much a non-issue for her. So, um, but if these two are going to work out, they have been everywhere together. I got quite a few pieces of content where they been going places and spending time, and they moved in together. They at that double date with Olivia and Jackson. I have that clip on my TikTok. So if you want to go check that out, it's over there. It's Romance Review TV 1. Yep. So if you want to check that out, that's over there. But hey, you know what? Unfortunately, their storyline and their love story is stained by the narrative of the betrayal. So it's going to follow these two for a while, but they really don't care. They don't care. They don't care at all. They'll tell you in a minute, guys, it's TV. It's reality TV. Don't believe everything you see. They say that every time, or pretty much almost all of the times that these candid reporters run into them when they're out and about. So it is what it is. I mean, people hate to see them together. They're saying, "Oh, Daniel gonna get his when she cheat on him," or Carolina is gonna get her karma when Daniel leaves her. I don't know about that. These two are pretty tight right now. Then that doesn't mean something can happen down the line or in a year or two. But I'm gonna keep my eye on these two, most definitely. Jess. Okay, at the dinner party, Jess did ask Daniel if the relationship was with Carolina started after she left. When he said yes, she was cool. Exactly. She didn't care. As long as that didn't happen on her watch, she had no issue with it, and it didn't. And if they are more compatible, fine. She is obviously not compatible with Dion. I don't even know why the experts even did that. Honestly, I mean, from the get-go, their lives are so vastly different. So for the experts to figure that those two were going to work, it was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. So I didn't understand that, but and then of course she found connection with Daniel. They have a sexual connection, they have emotional connection. Some of the things that they like to do are similar. Tell me why the experts didn't pick up on that. You could have saved yourself all the drama, made them, if not Olivia and Jackson, you could have made them not the villain. You can made them the face of this season. But nope. So Jess was only there for 5 seconds. Yeah, she was there. Barely. I think we only saw maybe her 1 or 2 episodes. And then she tried to set Daniel up with this whole thing about what can I change about myself, knowing that's a trick question. Because most women, when you ask, do I look larger in this outfit? Do I look a certain way with my hair this way? If you say, well, you can change this or that, most women are going to find that not a good thing. And Daniel did not fall for it. And if he was like, if I tell you anything, that's going to make me look like a jerk. And most of the women that watched the show would have said, oh my God, how can he say that? She's just fine as she is. It is what it is. So, I mean, they couldn't get the drama that moment when, Daniel didn't fall for the trick question. And then Jess was like, you know what? I'm so over this. I want to go home. I'm out. I don't like this guy. Whatever. Experts said both Dion and Carolina were self-made business people, both had serious or broken relationships. Yep, well, they're working together right now, Josh. So far, so good. So we'll see. You know, I mean, John really came at them. He was like, he really tried to make them look bad, but Daniel didn't care. Daniel was rolling his eyes and he spoke a lot for the both of them. He was not going to he's very protective over her because that whole thing that we did not talk about is him wanting that apology from Mitch because Mitch said something extremely inappropriate at the boys' night. You don't say nothing like that. When he said, yeah, I love this person, and Mitch says, no, you're not. You're in love with her. You know what? Come on, dude. Really? Really? I mean, seriously. And of course, that was fighting words um, for Daniel. Because they interviewed Daniel. I think that's on my channel as well, where some stuff went on with those two off camera outside of the bar. So it didn't end there with that comment. And so with him coming back to the reunion, he expected a apology from Mitch. And the crazy thing, I'm surprised with Ella obviously knowing what was said. Why would you condone that? Just because you don't like Carolina? There is no way. Whether I like that person or not, there's some things you just don't say. And that's maybe just me. But I mean, seriously, as a woman myself, and I'm hearing my boyfriend or significant other or whatever talking that way about another woman, just because I might not like her or agree with what she did, am I going to think that that comment is okay? Because Ella was fiercely at that dinner party, like, you're not going to get it. Just forget about it. You're not going to get it. And I'm like, so are you condoning what Mitch said? Seriously? Um, just question to Daniel. It was a no win. Smartest thing he did was not answer. Absolutely. Because not only would Jess had a problem with it, but the women fans that watched the show would have definitely had a problem with it. Mitch should apologize to Carolina. The entire group expect D and C to apologize. Olivia to apologize, but Mitch get a pass. Absolutely. There is no way he should have said what he said about that girl. That's crazy to me. But you don't have to apologize for what you said. Exactly. Kevin says it's very hard to tell which couples are for real and which person just want to be on TV. Yep. So, but mad at Selena for apologizing to Dom. Very inconsistent. Yep, absolutely, Josh. I still can't believe most came on the show to further their careers. I mean, here's the thing. For people who want their big break, when you're in the United States or whatever your main media hub is, because our main media hub is either Hollywood or Atlanta, Hollywood, California, or Atlanta, right? Um, If you can't break into acting the regular way by auditioning, the next step is to just get in front of the cameras on a reality TV show and build up your following. So it's kind of like a little bit of the path of least resistance as long as you're not painted as the villain. So getting these TV roles and commercials and a B-level movie role or even an A-lister movie role, that's hard to get into. So the next best thing is let me sign up to get on this reality TV show, get a camera on me, let people get to know me that way. As long as I'm not painted as the victim, I'll be okay. And for a lot of people, it worked. Again, I always speak of this one person, which is Deeps from Love is Blind. She came on the show with 10 episodes, and all because her and Shake didn't get along or whatever the situation, that girl has over 1 million followers now in a month. So people know the value of getting in front of a camera just to get their face out there. And most of the time it's on reality TV. Um, let's see what we got. Let's see. Okay, I'm sorry, Matt and Selena. Okay, what about? Oh yeah, NYC. You're right, Kim. Broadway, New York, Atlanta, and Hollywood, California. Those are the biggest hubs, and it's hard to break into Broadway or break into Hollywood or get into a lot of the production studios because Tyler Perry studio is down in Atlanta. It's hard to break into those industries, and the easier way to get there is fill out an application for a reality TV show because you're going to get exposure. Even with the villain, Olivia got the villain edit, and she still almost have 100,000 followers. I mean, the only person I would say from this show that really didn't get a following is Kate and Matt. I think Kate is at about 6,000 followers on Instagram, and Matt is probably somewhere around 20 to 30,000. But everybody else is either close to 100,000. Dom has the highest amount. Brent is coming in at second, and then Ella is the other one that has around 200,000. And here's the thing, now you don't have to be in a movie or TV show. Brand deals come to people that have big followings. Social media, because there's a lot of audience there, a lot of the money that's made by influencers is through brand deals. Right now, Fenty, which is owned by Rihanna, uh, Deeps has a brand deal with Fenty now because her following is so huge. So they don't even have to get into a movie now or a commercial now. All they need is a platform full of people, and the brand deals and sponsorships will come. All right, Olivia Nasty. Hey, Hillary Jane. For some, this disappearance is a career maker. For others, Olivia Jackson tomorrow, not so much. I honestly think Olivia and Jackson actually came on the show for love. I'm not saying the rest of them do because Olivia and Jackson don't have these big influencer marketing type of careers. So I honestly think they actually came on the show looking for love, but they were turned into the villains. Carolina's purse rental business is boom. I bet. Girl, Gosling. I bet if she's renting out high-end luxury bags like Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Dolce Gabbana, what's the other ones out there? Fendi and Chanel. Oh yeah, I bet she's probably making a mint right now. Camille says, read somewhere that Tamara applied 3 consecutive seasons to get on the show and wanted to be the villain. Yeah, I heard that too. If you guys go back to the first episode at the hen party, she actually said that she's a masculine energy. She's going to need a real man that can handle her because she would break a man. I actually have that clip also on my TikTok. She actually said that. So she came in putting herself out there as the villain. Yes, she did. Dion is a real gentleman. Olivia and Jackson has signed up with an agent who took Channel 9 to court to try to get them to release participants' social media account. Okay, elaborate on that. So the agent took the network to court because Olivia and Jackson want their social media accounts back. Is that what you're saying? Give me some clarity on that, Jocelyn. That's pretty interesting. All right, let us talk about this couple for a minute because this couple right here was so crazy. Oh my gosh. I don't I don't know why these two stayed together at the final vows anyway. Especially Selena. Selena has had, from what we saw, and I'll just preface it with that, from what we saw, Selena had plenty of behaviors to look at to make a decision to say, dude, you ain't it. Not for me, you're not. I mean, just the Batman sheets would have been enough for me. It's like, dude, you expect me to live in this house that's dirty. You're not ready to be in a relationship, not even a marriage. Emotionally, he's not ready. He still have a lot of stuff to deal with when it comes to his family issues, his dad's passing, all of that, you know. And he said on camera. Now, like I say, I look for jump cuts and people's backs turned, and I'm hearing talking. No, we actually saw Cody say out of his mouth, "I am a cold person. I tend to be cold, and I have no empathy." Why would you sign up with a man that says that? It makes no sense. Now, my question was she ready? Was she actually looking for love, or was she looking for? Because victims get, victims on the show. You got the villains, you got the angel, and you got the victims. The victims, like the Dions and the Selenas, they get a great following as well. Let's see. Read the article as well. Camille, Dion's gentleman. Okay. Okay, so apparently Channel 9 are keeping control over for 2 months. Oh my gosh. The argument was that this prevented participants from cashing in on their notoriety. Really? Okay. This agent also signed up several 2022 participants in addition to Olivia and Jackson. Because I was wondering, okay, so Married at First Sight over here in the US, the day that the part two reunion ends, when it's aired and the show is over, they are allowed to open their social media accounts to the public, and they get control. In the US, once that second episode of the reunion is over, social media accounts return back to the cast members. Why is Australia holding that for 2 whole months? That's crazy. That's crazy, Jocelyn. Oh my goodness. I still think Cody's apartment condition was a setup for Selena to say she's done. That's possible. Because I can't see a grown man that looks like a kiddie room, a teenager or a junior high kid that was living in that room. And then you had the raggedy, dusty fan too. That could all have been staged. You are absolutely right, Mary. That could have been staged too. But the crazy thing is, they said yes on the final vows. Got to the reunion dinner party, they were still together. Got to the grand finale reunion, and the night after the dinner party, they claimed they broke up. Well, Cody said he broke up with her. And then he started to kind of flounder back and forth because the experts kind of pushed him a little bit. But are you sure this is what you want to do? And he was like, well, I don't know. And then, no, he finally gave the final answer, no. And it came out yesterday with an interview, and I'm going to do a recap on that. I'm going to do a reaction video to what she had to say in her interview. That Cody only came to the show because he won a bet or he lost a bet. Either won a bet or lost a bet. But it was over a bet that he came to the show. So you didn't even come on here looking for love. You made a bet with somebody, and that's why you came on the show. Really? But hey, production saw him coming a mile away and say, you know what? Yep, we're going to label him as this. He's going to be the guy who is emotionally unavailable. Crazy. Okay, Jocelyn said Channel 9 said it keeps control of social media acts 2 months to protect the cast from trolls. Well, they've been coming to Olivia's house, so hopefully they can protect them from people showing up too. Cody's apartment is a health hazard. Oh my God, yeah, that apartment was crazy. Camille said I saw an interview with Selena where she said Cody came on the show because he lost a bet. Yep. She seems to have her head on straight and now has Cody cut off. She should. She shouldn't have. She should have let him go on one of them commitment ceremonies where it said leave. Um, that's why I say that because Cody waited the last minute to end it. Now, you guys, listen. I also think he stayed long enough to clean up his whole act because that whole thing about her race and her look at the beginning of the season and how he never dated an Asian girl, that was huge for a lot of people. And a lot of people on social media did not like what he had to say. So I'm wondering if he stayed on the rest of the season to clean up his image. What do you guys think? That's probably the case. Cody wasted everyone's time. Absolutely. Cody is a cat. He should have. Ugh, that whole situation. But I mean, he said what he said. He was like, when she asked him the reason that he's, his attraction is where it is it because of my nationality and look? And then he was like, well, yeah. Next commitment ceremony, both of y'all should have said leave. And I'm not saying that he should have left because of that. She should have left because it was inevitable where these two were going to go. There was no connection. Cody was checked out at the wedding reception because remember Selena was bouncy and excited and over anxious, and Cody was like, oh my God, I don't know if I want to be here right now. That was Cody. That was Cody. I agree about Cody. Yeah, Mary. Of course he wanted to save face. Yes, he did. Jordan says no. He tried to stay long enough to clean up his race. That's what I'm. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. But in reality, he meant what he said. Exactly. That's exactly what I was saying. Is that he stayed to try to clean up his act. Because if he had a left right then, you're right. If he had a left right then and there, that would have looked even worse. It would have looked worse. You're right, Jordan. But at the end, she still ended up hurt but even, okay, so just say they got past the whole look and nationality episode, right? Further down the line, you still had him not being emotionally available, and playing tricks and pranks on her. Her mama didn't like him. And then he was breaking things in her mama's house. And then just the mere fact I have no empathy and I'm just a cold person. That is the I guess where you would need to say check please. Yep, she should have been done back then. Once they even got past the situation in that episode. At the finale, experts mentioned Selena's participation in another reality TV show about love, and Selena constantly says she wanted to make her parents proud. Yeah, but the thing is that you make your parents proud with a successful relationship. And she knew that this guy wasn't it. There got to be a part of her that had to know that this dude wasn't it. He wasn't it. I'm sure, and she went on that roller coaster ride with him. So hopefully she's doing better now. I saw a little bit of her interview. She looks good. So, but according to Al a few weeks ago, he did say that Selena was going through it at one point and that he was trying to be there for her and, check in on her because, this whole process with this experiment and any of these types of shows is grueling on your mental health. Grueling. So, um, let's see. Yeah, Cody and Olivia say they have both no empathy. Kim says, "Oh yeah, Jordan, mom read him like a book. Absolutely." Kim says, "Remember the watermelon?" Yes. Oh my God, that picture was disgusting. That was his friend. That was her welcome home party with a picture on the wall with the watermelon in her crotch. Are you serious? That was tasteless. Oh my God, that was horrible. Kim, I forgot all about that. That was crazy. Cody abused his wife. I mean, the emotional abuse was there. I mean, at some point, she has to come out of that though. And I mean, she stayed with him even after, the whole thing, after the vow ceremony because they made it to the dinner party. And it just sucks because she's been on so many shows trying to find love and it's just not happening. It's just not working. So, and her parents are probably like, not again. And that sucks because I understand she wants her parents' approval. So always listen to your mother's advice when it comes down to people. Yeah, tell me about it. Tell me about it. Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. All right, we're going to talk about this other couple this season, Mitch and Ella. So we kind of talked about them a little bit earlier in the rude comments that Mitch made to Daniel about Kurt. But these two had a lot of sexual chemistry. Um, these two, he didn't want to go deep with her, and they got together after the wedding, after the final vows, because he wanted more time. And I was so disappointed in this couple because when I saw them at the beginning of the season, I was excited about these two. You guys know I were from previous lives, previous recaps. I was so excited about these two. But Mitch, and technically, sometimes I talk a little bit about zodiacs and stuff. They are actually a zodiological match, but compatibility obviously is just not there. Um, Mitch's problem, according to what we saw on the show, was that Ella needed way too much validation than what he could give her. She always wanted all this acknowledgement. He wanted this validation. I want to know how you feel about me. Do you really like me? Do you find me attractive? And I mean, those are definitely great questions to ask because you want to know from your partner how deeply connected you are. And Mitch is like, I'm not going to babysit the validation that you want, and it sucks. Let's see what we got in the comment section. Yes, Kevin, her mom told her. That's what I mean about his apartment. I think he thought it would anger her to a point of leaving. Yeah, I mean, I would have left. That was disgusting. Not everyone finds love. It's okay to be super single. Yep, if you okay with whatever the outcome is with being single, absolutely. But you got to be okay with the outcome. Because you got some people who say that they're happily single, but they want marriage and children. So you got to also be honest with yourself. And if you're honest to say, I don't want to be in a relationship, I am not ready for kids right now. I'm okay growing old by myself and can financially take care of myself through my old age. fine. If you're that self-aware, absolutely. But you got to be honest with yourself if you are going to do that. Because whatever you choose, whether it's to be in a relationship or be single, you got to be okay with the outcome. Um, two, two right, Kevin. Same with my pets. If they don't like you, there's usually a reason. Mary says Mitch and Tamara were there together before filming, and Ella said she's trying to figure out why they came on the show. That's interesting. Yeah, that whole mess is crazy because the rumors are out there really thick now that Tamara and Mitch are together. Not only do they live in the same area on the Gold Coast, they actually live in the same work, I should say, in the same building. So they definitely either met, are dating, have dated, or something. One or the other, you know. And like you say, people come on this show to build up their social media cred. Just taking a sip of water, guys. Excuse me. But yeah, the thing is, oh, wait a minute. Mitch was scouted. Now that I do know because she said that on a live on an interview that I did a reaction video on about a week or so ago. Tamara had applied several times. Yes, she applied I think 3 times, and Mitch was scouted. So yeah, that's the only thing. I mean, if you don't sign up for the show, why go out and look for people who, hey, you want to come and be on our show? Have you ever heard of Married at First Sight? Sign up. You maybe find love. And hey, you never know. You might build up a following. This will help your business or whatever. You get exposure. And some of these people, because Chris Williams from season 12 in here in the States, he was recruited. He had no idea, never watched the show. And they offered him, hey, why don't you come on our show? And you might find love. And don't you want to get married? And he thought it was a great idea. And it was one of the craziest things he ever done in his life. So yeah, if somebody come looking for you and say, "Hey, you want to be on a reality TV show?" Think twice, unless you can handle it. Unless you can handle it. But yeah, I'm not. I'm unfortunately I'm over this couple. Like I said in the beginning, I was really rooting for him, but now, yeah, it's a wrap. Hopefully Ella find what she's looking for, but her social media cred is up right now. So, and she's a pretty girl, so I can see her getting a few brand deals with some things. So she'll be all right. And Mitch is doing his thing, So, I just wish that Mitch apologized for what he said, and I didn't like the fact that Ella supported the behavior. So, because they wanted everybody else to apologize for their stuff, but when it came to Mitch, because it was Carolina, nope, they wasn't giving it to her. So go figure, kind of hypocritical to me. We didn't get to see a lot of this couple because most of their stuff was aired at the beginning of the season, which was Selena and Anthony. Selena was the early season villain. She was the instigator though. She instigated at the dinner party and the girls' nights because she was trying to get the tea. Then she instigated at the grand finale reunion where she was like, she wanted a piece of Mitch. And I'm like, girl, stop. She was just trying to make sure she get her shine on in the last few, because we ain't seen her probably for a good 20 episodes. Because she was at the beginning of the season before this whole thing with emasculating Anthony happened. Um, oh guys, I also heard that they interviewed Anthony. He has a new girlfriend. He said that it's somebody that he knew from his past, not somebody recent. I don't know if it's somebody maybe he went to school with or whatever, but it's somebody that he knew from his past. And so he's now in that relationship, and he said he is so happy. He have his back. He had wait a minute. He has her back. She has his back. They are really happy. She's been helping him through coming out of this process. So I'm happy that Anthony found love. It wasn't on the show, but he found it outside of the show. So I'm happy to hear that about him. Let me see. Ella and Britt will make a cute couple. Yeah, we'll see. It looked like they might be. I wonder if the experts had a chat with the producers about keeping things from them. Probably. You just never know. Production is real sneaky. Absolutely, Kim. If you can't be happy with by yourself, how can you hope to be happy in a couple? Absolutely. She admitted she knew Mitch text tomorrow, but covered for him. Get the French toast out of here. You know what? I think I did hear something about it because he got drunk. And then she came on TV after they broke up because now Mitch and her are like cut off from each other. And then she did admit the fact that she knew about the text. Yeah, Jordan, I'm happy for Anthony. So hopefully if there's some pictures or anything, I'll try to see if I can post it of his new girlfriend. So I'm excited about that. And then we got one other couple that I want to talk about, and we kind of touched on them off and on throughout the live today. And that couple is Olivia and Jackson. Now, Olivia was, of course, the villain from episode 20, moving up to 37. And a lot of people were saying that Jackson pretty much was being weak, being a follower until he started, I guess, agreeing with it and having her back and standing up and things like that. And so now they're saying that he's just as people are really now saying that he's just as bad as Olivia. And I'm like, oh my gosh. What do you guys think about these two? Gotta go. See you later, Mary. You are so welcome. I'm glad to have you here. Um, Yeah, these two actually, they've been doing well outside of the show. Um, I think Jackson moved in with her. That's what we learned about at the grand finale reunion, that he moved in with her, and a lot of people was not happy about that. But it was interesting when it came to Ella and Mitch. They preferred Mitch to move down to Ella's instead of Ella at the time wanting to move down to Mitch's. So it's just interesting how people's thought processes work. Because when the whole thing came up with Ella and Mitch, they was like, "Well, why does she has to move? He should be the man and the gentleman and move to her." And you know, but when Jackson did it with Olivia, it was like, "Oh, are you crazy? What are you doing that for? He moved in with her? Oh my God, why?" So like I said, people's perceptions are very, very interesting. But yeah, I mean, the accountability factor that we kind of talked about a little bit earlier in this live, the experts did not. They just asked her if she felt sorry. She was like, "Yeah, I did, but I have no empathy. I just don't have it in me." And they left it right there. That was it. And then we hear Dom says, "Oh, I got to take accountability for my part." And that was it. So, like I said earlier, you cannot have somebody take 100% accountability for something that may not be 100% authentic because they made this too easy. They put this big hype on this whole episode 37 where, oh my God, the experts hold folks accountable. Yeah, right. All they did was saying, or do you feel bad? Of course I do. Well, I mean, don't you have a little empathy? I just don't have it in me. Dom, oh, I'll take accountability for my glass breaking. And that was it. That was it. So, like I said, I don't buy it. I just think that there's a lot more. Like I said earlier, if you got rid of the first guy that Jess was married to because of offensive behavior, you immediately removed him from the show and you remove other people from previous seasons for things that was even less, but you have something that's criminal, a whole storyline been built around it, and it supposedly happened on their set, where you have cast members admitting, "Well, I showed it to this person, and I showed it to that person." There is no way In the Mall, Shine, and Channel 9 would be okay with all of that going on unless it was approved by the original victim. Just my thoughts. I could be wrong. We will never know because all of these folks are locked under contract. They are not allowed to talk about it. However, the flip side of that is the dragging of the cast member. So yeah, I can't 100% buy this whole thing because there's no way something that illegal is going to be allowed on a platform and be able to be promoted as a storyline. I just don't buy it. So, um, but I mean, the question is either Olivia is a very good darn actress and Dom is a very good darn actress, and the whole glass that she broke was a glass that was, in Hollywood, they have those glasses that are already ready to break when you slam them. Who knows? We will never know. But I had to compare the two. Y'all kicked that guy off real quick without even showing his face. There's no way you'll be able to allow this whole criminal act to happen on your platform. Sorry. Mm-mm. Um, let me see. Camille says happy for Holly and her manifestation. Yeah, we didn't get to see a lot of Holly. Holly, we saw I, but it probably was a production move. But it's like, Holly, really? Why would you want to open up that can of worms? Why? Come on, seriously. But she did. So, and the drama came out of that. We can't forget about Tamara because we remember that whole thing. Brent put her on blast with texting Mitch. She was pissed off at she walked out of the grand finale reunion because of this whole thing with Brent and the experts telling her about him working and waiting tables and being a venue manager and all of that. And she did an interview after the show this past week. I did a reaction video to it. So if you guys haven't seen it, it's on my channel. But she said, by no means do I look down on retail or look down on waiters. There are people working in retail and working staff people in my family. There's no way I would look down on people that's doing that type of work in my own family. What she did say is that she wasn't clear because every time she tried to get an explanation from Brent about what exactly he does, it was never clear or he avoided answering the question. So I'm wondering if they wanted a storyline out of that too, Brent. You know, keep it vague. Don't give her all of the information. Of course, as a woman, just like what's happening on Married at First Sight US with Steve and Noy, Noy want to know if you're gonna be working. What you doing? What's the plan? And Tamara was rude coming in the door, coming into the marriage, coming into the hen party. But at the same time, she claimed on the interview that she did with, oh my God, Today, Australia, that Brent never really gave her a clear answer. So he might have told everybody else what he did as a venue manager, but it wasn't clear to her. Because I couldn't understand that. I'm like, how are you married to somebody for 3 months and not know what they do for a living? That makes zero sense. But according to her, he never gave a clear answer what he did. So of course, what we're seeing is her like, well, I guess he wait tables or something. I don't know, So we'll never get the true story behind that. But her and Dom were going at it. Tamara and Carolina and Olivia was listed as the mean girls. Um, and I think some people even threw Sam in that too. Because Sam was the one that supported Tamara, when she did her walkout, and she was like, I don't want anybody to work in retail, but her back was turned. See, and I don't trust those type of, what they call them is voice change removals. So I'm like, okay, her back was turned. We hear a clip, I don't want to work in retail. Where the heck did they come from? It could have been her in the stairwell, but we didn't see any of that. So and tomorrow and Sam was like, I know you should have what you want. It's okay. That whole thing was just crazy. I'm just glad that, her and Brent are not together because they are definitely not a match. Brent hopefully is starting something with Ella. Hopefully that's working out. But going back to the couple on the picture, um, honestly, I just think that if production wanted drama, they could have got it out of somebody else. I mean, why use the only two couples on the show, only two that stayed together as the villains? I have never seen, out of all the shows that I've recapped, maybe there's one. There is one. No, maybe two actually. But they didn't stay to the end. They left earlier in elimination, but they ended up staying with the person that they were with after the show. But they were villains. This is a situation where these two made it to the end and decided to stay together at the vow ceremony and final vows, stayed together after the season, and they're the villains. I just think that season 9 was a disservice. You guys, are there any other couples who were made the highlight of their season that are still together? Let me know. Even if the cast is bound. Wait a minute. I think producers tried to brand Selena as a good season. There they did. She was at the beginning, but Anthony was done. Anthony was like, I can't take no more of this. And so with him gone, she went behind him. The sound died. You can't hear me? Let's see, even if the cast is bound by NDAs and this goes to court, they would have to defend themselves. Yep, that is true. Holly was still upset with Jackson and Olivia not believing her when she complained about Andrew's treatment. Bringing up the photo incident was payback. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one, Jocelyn. Tamara judged Brent from the get-go and had no interest. She sure did. The moment that man said that he worked in restaurants, her face went, and Celine did the perfect example, like, and I know you guys can't see my face, but you remember Celine's face when that happened, right? That's exactly what Tamara did. She sulked when she heard what Brent told her. And then that whole back and forth about the upside down knife cutting the cake, that was just ridiculous. That whole thing is ridiculous. So I just think that, the season is officially over. Unfortunately, I wish they had a couple that was like the it couple for the season that stayed together. They made Dom and Jack the it couple, but they're not even together. It's her notoriety came off of the whole OnlyFans storyline and this whole thing with Olivia. The fans absolutely love her because of what happened with, no slut shaming, my body, my choice, um, the behavior that, we saw, the whole thing about Olivia waving, saying that, um, Dom waved the glass, and that wasn't something that we saw, and so they deemed her as a liar, and, so even if Dom is not in a relationship with Jack, she came out as the golden child this season. She's the golden child this season. And the couples that stay together, which is what the show is about, Married at First Sight, they're the villains. So it was just backwards to me. I know out of Married at First Sight US, there will be three couples coming out staying together. I will not say which three, it's only four, but we pretty much all know who it is because it's already out there. But I'm not going to spoil it on the live. So you guys have to stay tuned. But at least we get at one to two. We got three couples this season. Last season we had one, but they didn't stay together. No, we had two, and they didn't stay together. And then season 12 we had one, and they're still together. And then season 11, I'm not gonna go all the way back, but season 11, we had 3 couples and 2 of them are still together, and one of them is having a baby coming up in June. So, it look like it's been a lot of success over here, and they tend to highlight the couples. That's why we have a show called Married at First Sight Couples Cam. I hope it comes back this year, where the couples that actually stayed together, we get to follow them and see their lives and the babies that come out of it, and when they buy new homes together, they highlight the good couples that come out of this show. Married at First Sight, Australia, you finally got two couples out of it, but you painted them as the villain. It sucks. All right. When Al talked about tomorrow, then burped in the face. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Anyone notice Mitch's face during the dinner party when Brent put tomorrow on the spot about the text message? Yeah, he was uncomfortable because he know what was up. And like one of you guys said a few minutes ago, um, Ella put him on blast this past week about it. So you're absolutely correct about, that whole thing. So it was a crazy season, you guys. Oh my goodness. I did see that Channel 9 is recruiting for Love Island Australia. So we got that coming up in the fall. I'm looking forward to doing Married at First Sight UK when it happens again. I do recap still on Ready to Love, and I also do Married at First Sight US, and I'm also doing the Ultimatum. It's good. You guys got to go check it out. All 8 episodes are already up. So this weekend, if you want to do something where you want to binge watch something, go check it out. I enjoyed it. It's like it's a combination of Temptation Island. Well, not kind of sorta. It's 6 couples and they swap to try to meet one of the other couples to see if there's a connection. And at the end of this, a proposal comes out of it. So either you stay with your current partner, or if you build a connection with somebody else's partner that you swapped with, you can actually continue to stay with them and possibly propose. So it's pretty interesting. So you guys go check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Who wants to wager Al will be? I would love to see that. That's probably where he should be. Crazy as he's been acting on this season. Martha and Mike for season 6, they're still together. So are they the only couple out of this whole franchise in the Australia brand that's still together? That's it? One? Wow, that's crazy. At least, like I say, over here we had 13 seasons so far, and You got 12 couples, and hopefully coming out of season 14, we'll probably get a couple more, 2 or 3 more. We'll have to see. So, guys, I enjoyed let me know if you want me to do some lives on some of the other stuff that I recap. I would love to. I'm still thinking about doing the tea party. Tea has been coming out on this cast all this week. So stay tuned. I'll definitely send out a notification if there's tea that comes out and we can just break down all the tea. You guys, if you come up with tea, Jocelyn, David, any of you guys, um, are you serious, Camille? Martha was one of the villains of that season. Oh my God. So there's another couple that are still together, but they were the villains. Wow. Okay. I guess maybe they make the drama is not from the marriage, it's from the villains, I guess. Crazy. But let me know if you want me to do any other live if on other shows. I know I'm gonna do a live on do a live on the ultimatum when that's over, because there's proposals and reunions and stuff for that. If you want me to do a live back on the US side, we can do that. If you got tea, email me. Shoot me a email at romancereviewtv@gmail. Shoot me an email or a DM on IG. You can do that. Get in contact with me if you got tea. There's a few of you guys who come into my DMs and be like, "Hey, did you see this? Did you see this? Here's this link." David emails me all the time, and I'm glad he sends me stuff so I can talk about it with you guys or do a reaction video or whatever. But yeah, you guys, let me know. And also, if you want to support the channel, I'm gonna put this caption up here. I usually have it up, but if you want to support the channel, um, my Cash App is there. It's been a great season. And it's there if you want to do that. And then of course my IG handle is there as well. And then again, you guys, I'm on TikTok now, so I got a lot of following over there, a lot of engagement, people talking and conversating into the comment section. And I post a lot of clips and fun stuff on TikTok, and that's Romance Review TV 1. So I hope you guys enjoyed our lives, our time together for Married at First Sight Australia, and continue to stay tuned and let me know what you like to see or whatever. So until the next video, you guys hit the like button on the way out, and we will see you soon. Bye, guys.